All right, folks, talking about those and so many are returning home from the military, so many have volunteered, and the question, what do you do? What do you do afterward? And how could you use what you learned in the military, in combat especially, in the quote-unquote real world? Well, there is a new book out by a true American hero, Commander Bill Driscoll, retired Navy commander and naval ace pilot, and he has a brand new book, Peak Business Performance. There it is on the screen. Peak Business Performance Under Pressure, a Navy ace shows how to make great decisions in the heat of business battles. Commander, it's great to have you here.
Thank you for having us here.
So I mean, a man who flew 170 combat missions during Vietnam, what led you to take this angle and put this book out to help educate so many people who have served?
Sure. I'm a former Top Gun instructor. Those that have seen the movie Top Gun understand a little of what that's like. And I noticed the students that went through the Top Gun course, the reasons why they were successful, they repeated the patterns over and over. And I also, as an ace, when I first went up to Top Gun to do the work I do, I interviewed 26 other aces to find out how they became aces. I know what we did, but I was curious to find out what they did. Yeah. And I was fascinated as I seemed to hear the same things over and over.
The consistency
of a certain few basic things. I make my living as a professional speaker. I do about 35 speeches a year around the world. I've been doing that for the last 15 years. So I've had an opportunity to interview close to 300 senior executives from the large corporations around the country. I've noticed what the aces did and what the senior executives did to become successful. There's some differences, but there's some surprising similarities.
Talk about the common thread that runs between them.
The common thread is a great sense of discipline. The aces, very simply, in their training, they did the things that others had the same opportunities to do, but didn't do in the preparations. Great sense of focus, laser beam focus. Great sense of keeping, in a complex environment, keeping things simple. Relentless preparation, so they could do it that fast without having to think about it. Yeah. Attention to detail. When am I most hurt? When am I most vulnerable? Satisfied. The day we stop wanting to get better is the day we stop being good. And the aces and senior executives have this unquenchable thirst to get better at what they do.
And of course, with the aces, it's life and death, moment to moment. In business, it's maybe a little bit more long term.
There are certainly some similarities. There's some dramatic differences. It's if the business deal goes badly, you may lose some money. With a dogfight, if it doesn't go the way you had planned or the way you had intended, you or your teammate may die.
I want to point out that you're giving a significant portion of the book, the profits from the book, to the Semper Fi Fund. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. It's a fund that was set up by some Navy nurses up at Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, and these nurses saw our wounded troops coming back home, badly injured. They saw the families coming out there just really distraught, and they had no place to stay once they got there, and they literally drove for several days with the clothes on their back. So they said, we have to do something to help these families. So they started this program called the Semper Fi Fund. It's open to all members of the military, not just the Marine Corps, all service members and their families who have been seriously wounded. What I like about it, and I initially hooked up with it through the Commandant of the Marine Corps' wife, pointed me, a friend of mine is friends with them, and pointed me in that direction. I like the fact that with Charity Watch, the group that monitors all the nonprofits, they got an A++ rating. Wow. And about 98% of the money they raise goes to benefit the families.
That's so important, yeah, to know that when you give to a charity like that. So that's Semper Fi Fund. Look it up, and by buying the book, Peak Performance Under Pressure, you're also giving a donation, in effect, to that wonderful cause. Talk a little bit about, we only have a minute or so left, talk about what kind of person it takes to be a Top Gun, to be a fighter pilot like you were.
Sure. Someone who's confident, wants to be the best no matter what. As we talked a little bit earlier, is never satisfied, wants to get better at what they do, and just looks for any way to make themselves better. And
I'm sorry.
And just very focused on what it takes to get better, and their passion. They're what I would call the top ones at 24/7.
Wow.
They're on it.
And how many have translated into, I mean, you interviewed several for the book, but do they find it easier, you think, to obtain these top level kind of jobs and to be successful in the afterlife, if you will, from the military?
The average military person is tremendously mission committed. They're very disciplined. They're team oriented. And the veterans, and we have a large number of them coming back today, they would make excellent teammates for any company because they understand already the importance of teamwork, the importance of getting it done.
And so many companies now, or at least I shouldn't say so many, more and more you see are hire a vet type
Right.
thing, and because there's so many more returning veterans now coming back that really need the help.
And I would say to the veterans, the government they're passing legislation now, up to 3% of what the federal government spends. For example, the Department of Defense spends somewhere in the neighborhood of $650 billion a year. 3% of that, or approximately $18 billion, has to go to veteran-owned companies. So I would encourage any of the veterans listening, feel free to start a business. Go to our website, www.sdvob.com.
SDVO.
That stands for Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Business Enterprise.
Okay, great plug. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Great
sir.
talking to you. Commander Bill Driscoll, ladies and gentlemen. The book, Peak Business Performance Under Pressure. Check it out. We're coming back with Walter Williams.